In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we're coloring conversations on America's canvas. Tonight, we have a special guest that hails all the way from the motherland, the continent of Nnamdi. Nnamdi, simply known as Ugo, is a Nigerian with a strong voice in the campaign for HIV testing, treatment, prevention, and fighting HIV-related stigma and promoting undetectable HIV viral load equals sexually untransmittable, which is successful treatment. Over the years, he has used his social media handles to reach millions of people affected or infected with HIV. His strong advocacy for HIV and passion have seen people get to know their status, while people living with HIV start, restart, or continue antiviral therapy and achieve optimal positive living and loving. With his degrees in public health, disaster management, and peace development, he is a strong believer that quality health care services are the right for all persons, irrespective of sex, gender, or sexual orientation. As an accomplished program administrative specialist with over 10 years of experience and certificates from the University of Washington in clinical management of HIV, global mental health, leadership and management in health, epidemiology for global health, and project management and global health. He stands tall in healthcare administration, specializing in logistics, data management, and HIV/AIDS program implementations with proven expertise in managing critical medical administrative tasks, providing technical guidance, and ensuring efficient healthcare service delivery, which has been positively used to impact lives, ensuring that people living with HIV are linked to and retained in care. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the show Mr. Ugo Nnamdi. Hello, sir.
Good to have you, Charles. Good to have you once again. And I'm glad to see you. Last we saw was in 2024. And I was delighted when you reached out to me and said we should sit down again to talk. You're not looking bad.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that you're here as well. And I see that, I would love, for this time for people to know a little bit more about you, as well as the work that you do, because that's very, very important. And it looks like your outreach is getting broader and broader. So I'm really proud and happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's start, with your education and motivation. Can you tell us what inspired you to pursue degrees in public health, disaster management, and peace development?
Oh, thank you for this question. I will describe myself as a fortunate servant, right? I didn't plan it all out to be doing whatever you see me do on my social media handles and all that. So for me to reach out to people, I need to know what I'm talking about, right? I need to
Mhm.
get better information, get better equipped, right? And that necessitated me to get some education, some background in disaster risk management. But first of all, I had this, it was as a result of me getting my second degree, my master's in disaster risk management, that I kind of stumbled into voicing out about HIV, ensuring that people get to know about testing and treatment, staying on treatment, and again, standing against stigma. So during the program, I came in contact with a friend, a coursemate, and I never knew his HIV status. And because he was a friend and we do read together, so he became sick, and I was the only person very close to him to take care of him. As a matter of fact, he took himself to the hospital and then called me. Oh, I'm in the hospital. I'm not feeling well. I said, okay, I will come over. So I never knew he would be that it was terrible and he would be admitted. So in the course of his admission, treatment, he eventually passed on. But before he passed on, because I was the person taking care of him, I was asking the doctors, I was asking the healthcare providers what was wrong with him. And they say, oh, who are you to? I said, I'm his friend. And he never told you this. I said, no. Okay, your friend is living with HIV. I just said, okay, fine. So what's the way forward? And we are on that, and eventually he passed on. When he died, I said that had he told me what he was going through, um, I I I could have helped in one way or the other, because I was with him. I saw the kind of life he was living. I was remembering his the way he was living out, the way he was. There was kind of as if he was hiding something, as if he was afraid of something. But I didn't know. He didn't open up until he died. So with his passing on, I said that um, I'm not going to keep quiet about this, because we have many people out there who are looking forward to who they can talk to, who can encourage them to at least know their status, get tested, remain on treatment, because HIV diagnosis alone is a burden. And knowing that you will have to live on treatment or medication for a long time, and knowing that there is no known cure, so is a burden. And the stigma, unnecessary stigma around that, is also a heavy burden, So I said that no, I will take up this and give HIV a face, demystify the fears, demystify the stigma around it. And that's where I am today, doing it many years after. And I don't see myself stopping anytime soon.
Well, I think that's a good thing. So with that being said, it sounds like your motivation is people in general and the public health situation overall. So in that situation, when you decided to get those degrees, I mean, did you like just decide what you was going to do with them, or was it just in your head? You say, well, this is what I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to get this public health degree.
Okay. Yeah. So after the disaster risk manage the degree on disaster risk management, um, I found myself in HIV program. Right. I was employed to be a program administrative specialist of HIV, and there was need for trainings, there was need for um, self-development. Unfortunately, University of Washington um, offers variety of programs, and you have the opportunity to choose the one that suits your career, right? So I found out that clinical management of HIV will help me gain some knowledge in HIV management. Because I'm already in HIV program, people will have to come. I need to meet people. I will meet different cases, right? You need to talk to
Mhm.
people. Then what do you say if you don't have anything to say? What do you say when you don't have proper knowledge? So I got my um, a certificate on clinical management of HIV, then mental health, of course. Apart from that, HIV comes with a lot of burdens. We have the mental health aspect of it. So I need to get some knowledge on that. So, and then, and just that, I needed them to be able to deliver, to to save lives, right? And it's just like going to a farm and you don't have the necessary tools, right? So I needed all these tools to be able to be better equipped and ensure that any soul that come my way will live better than they met me. That's just that.
So, how did your background influence your choice to focus on these areas of study?
Oh, let's look at it. Poor health. When there is poor health, is a disaster on its own,
Mhm.
right? And when disaster, for example, maybe disaster, flood disaster, fire disaster, or any whether man-made or natural disasters occur, health is affected as well. So my background in disaster risk management um, has helped me in a great way, right? Because for like you rightly said, I've been in this for the past 10 years and I've seen it all and I'm still seeing everything. So my background has helped me to navigate through some challenges that comes with this, finding yourself in this program, HIV program. So it has really helped me, and I'll I'll thank my stars that is not a wasted effort. It's not a wasted time, truly.
So, can you describe a moment during your studies that solidified your passion for public health?
Oh, great. During my studies, we there was this case that one of my professors mentioned, and that moment, I don't want to get into details on that, but at that moment, I said that no, this will help me in in speaking out, because I don't see why there will be shame in healthcare. I'm not feeling well. I need healthcare. I need to go to the hospital to get treated, and I'm ashamed of that. And when I hide that health condition, I will not be able to get the help that I need. So I said, of course, in the course of it, the training, that and this will help me to speak out, even if to represent the people going through that. I don't mind. I don't care, because it's not a crime, right? And nobody chooses to be sick or chooses to acquire one health condition or the other. Nobody chooses that. Of course, we all pray for good health. And when you pray and any of them happens, what do? Science is there to help out. So you go to the facility, go to the hospital. So speaking out has helped me to save life, and like you rightly said at the beginning, a lot of persons. Charles, you can only imagine what people are going through out there. A lot of persons have reached out and said, oh, I never knew it is this very simple. You've given me hope. You've made it light for me. You've lifted the burden off my shoulder. So it's been, I must say that I'm not regretting any step I've taken in this aspect of my life.
Can you tell us what challenges did you face while pursuing your higher education, and how did you overcome them?
Of course, challenges will be there. Financial challenges will be there. This discomfort, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of dedication. These things you don't just wake up and have the certificates. You have to read.
Mhm.
Sleepless nights of reading and studying, because like we say in our Nigerian, in Nigerian terms, I don't want to disgrace my village people. So I needed to read to pass, right? So that I will not receive those courses. So um the discomfort of sitting down for hours to study throughout the night, and you have work to do the next day. So these the financial challenges, the difficulty here and there, it keeps you thriving, knowing that you have a goal, you have an objective, you want to achieve something, and perseverance. You ask, how did I navigate through that? Perseverance. I persevered, and I have good friends. One thing I would encourage people to have is having supporting system. I have friends who were there, whenever I'm tired, I'll talk to them. I'm tired, they will tell me I should keep going. So um and here I am today, and I've not arrived at my destination, and I'm still a work in progress.
Okay. But so in that case, I mean, like, did the challenges ever get to the point that you wanted to just give up?
Definitely, Charles, definitely. But like I said, I don't want to disgrace my village people.
Hmm.
I have people who are looking up to me, and
Hmm.
I have people who I'm looking up to too, who have passed through this path that I was taking or I'm taking, and giving up is never an option, right? Um, and one thing about me is that I'm very tough. Once I set up to do something, or I set
Hmm.
my mind to do something. I don't go back. Yeah, there were times to give up, but I never did. I never give in or give up.
So, how does your degrees complement each other in terms of addressing the community issues?
Oh, great. So my background was history and international studies. Then I went further to acquire this disaster risk management and development studies with University of Maiduguri, and after which I acquired another master's in peace and development studies. Um, then I had my postgraduate diploma in public health, and currently I'm running a program on public health, right? Master's on public MPH. So, like I said, poor healthcare is a disaster on its own. Poverty is a disaster on its own, and when health health condition are not properly managed, it can lead to a lot of things, including loss of life. And if one person in this context, HIV, one person is living with HIV, the other person is negative, two people in partnership, in relationship, there will be quarrel, there will be no peace. So I have gotten this knowledge, and then there is peace.
Hmm.
How do you reconcile two people who are serodiscordant? How do you talk to serodiscordant partners or friends? How do you talk to a parent about their child who is living with HIV, whom they think is a failure or a disgrace to the family? How do you talk to someone who thinks that now that I'm living with HIV, I think that my life has ended? How do you navigate all these social issues? So um, I am fortunate to have gathered this knowledge, and is helping me in my day-to-day interaction with people. And when I'm being told, oh, you did this or you said this some time ago, and because of what you said, I'm still here today, I will be like, really? Did I really say that? Did I really do that? But it sounds like what I can say. It sounds like what I can do. And my joy is that I see people thriving, I see people living, I see hope renewed, right? Whether
Mhm.
it is someone that's newly diagnosed or someone that has been living with HIV for a long time and feel that, oh, I'm getting tired. These educational background, these courses have helped me greatly in what I'm doing today, in knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say them, and achieving the desired goal.
Wow. So that's a lot of things that encompass an enormous amount of work, because to think about having those degrees which are mutually exclusive the way they are, and when we think of public health and then you got disaster management, if something like big really breaks out, and then you got this peace development, it's kind of like it's a one size fits all that encompasses so much inside the circle.
You're
So,
right.
so how are you able to manage that when it comes to you dealing with your constituents or the people that's in your community or your village? How do you deal with that?
Oh, you know, it depends on the situation on ground,
Mhm.
what you're meeting, and will require the kind of skill to use at the moment, right? When it comes to it depends on what's on ground, whether to use your knowledge on disaster management and risk development, or whether to use your knowledge on peace and development studies, and then public health sensitization, educating people, so that optimal health will be sustained, maintained. So it's kind of exclusive, but at the same time interwoven, right? So
Right.
depending on what is happening at the moment, but believe you me, whether it is whatever it is that is happening, the end goal has always been to save life,
Hmm.
sustain peace, educate and revive, renew hope, and I would say that I've been achieving that. I've been achieving that.
So, do you, with all the work that you do you have some part that you like consult or work with your local government?
Oh, great. I don't work alone. I'm not working alone. I have people I reach out to when seeking for the opinion on what to do. Definitely, definitely. Um, for me, the HIV program I am into is in the military program. So I also have to deal with civilian population, right? And
Mm.
civilians also come to our facility. So we have very, very brilliant persons who I always reach out to in whenever I am confused or in a crossroad of what to do. For my community, or whether my community or in general, um, people will always get attended to and their needs met. Yes, I have a way of meeting the communities, the local indigenous people, and see that they are carried along in one way or the other.
So, can you tell us, were there specific mentors or figures who influenced your academic journey? If so, how?
Um, I might not be able to mention their names, but I have
Okay.
many of them, right? Yes, I have people who I look up to and say, if they can do this, I can as well. And some of them, I met them in the class, and some, outside the class, and uh, they have been of great help. And when I think I can't do one or two things, they are the persons that will tell me, oh, I'm seeing beyond what you're seeing. I'm seeing beyond your weakness, your limitation, whatever. So I'm standing on the shoulders of great men and women. I must tell you that I'm very fortunate to have them, who are encouraging, who are pushing, who are ensuring that I have the best. Yeah.
But, I think that's interesting though, because I think that, in your area of expertise, and especially what the degrees you've gotten for higher education, it just seems like it's just so people. So it's like you and people just have to be natural with your
Yeah.
mentors. I mean, like, how did that come to be? I mean, like, was this like by passing, or how does this actually work out?
Um, it's just natural to me, you know,
Mhm.
is just natural to me. And I must say that at every point in my life, I've those people that have come into my life, I will not say that I met them. Um, I'm just fortunate. It's not what I planned, that okay, I'm going to meet this person, I'm going to have this person. It's just happened, and they are playing, and they are playing great significant role in my life. And each time, the relationship is always there, and each time that I reach out to and say, oh, I'm having difficulty here and there, so, and they help out. So it's just there. I didn't plan that, okay, this person will be in my life, or this person will be in my life. Naturally, I got to meet these persons.
So, how did your educational experiences shape your understanding of health disparities?
Yeah. Health disparities is through learning and reading. You see that we there are a lot of disparities out there, and we need to close these gaps, right?
Mhm.
If we keep our our knowledge basically to ourselves, that means there will be no changes in the community. And the reason why you get um, educated or get knowledge of something is to make a change. Let there be an improvement. And it has really opened my eyes greatly that I need to contribute to the disparities we have in the health care system
Mhm.
by speaking out, by talking, by um, correcting things here and there. I can't do all the changes. I can't do it alone. But again, I realize that if I don't say something, if I see something that is abnormal, and I keep quiet, I say, "Oh, it's not my business. Whose business is that? Who is going to make change?" But at least one needs to talk and see how far the change will go, then where someone will now come up and say, okay, let me continue where you stop. So my background has greatly helped me in understanding that our society, we are plagued greatly with these disparities, and it's high time we continue to talk and continue to see that changes are made, so that people's lives will be better somehow.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah. So, what role did hands-on experiences or internships play in your education?
Oh, through that, you get to do it better. You
Mm-hmm.
get to know better, right? Um, if it's only by theory without practicals, um, you will not do it better. You will not know better. And from if even if you make mistake, you learn from your mistakes and you improve, right? There has been at some point we had field trips. When you go into the community, you interact with people and understand them, better, and have real experiences. So these hands-on and these realities out there has greatly helped me. And because of my career, my job, my day-to-day meeting with people, um, it helps to shaping also. We learn every day. It helps to shaping my my understanding, my interaction, and becoming more understanding, more listening more, and seeing people's different perspective, and knowing that life is not white and black, is either gray. It has many shades, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this hands-on is have they've helped me, and they continue to help me in my day-to-day um, carrying out of my advocacy.
So, can you discuss how your studies have prepared you for real world challenges in your community?
Yeah. Like I said, it has like for disaster risk management, I've mentioned earlier my background on peace and development studies, um, my background on public health, right? These three, I must tell you that they have prepared me, and they are all already also uh, preparing me the more in my day-to-day activities, my interaction with my community. I've met many cases where you have to negotiate, you know, and I learned so much when I was studying peace and development studies. Um, there is no gain in war. There is no gain in disunity, right? We all want peace, and we have great men and women who have achieved peace in non-violent way. You have Martin Luther King Jr. You have Mahatma Gandhi of India. You have men out there. So my studying these men and women and bringing it into the work that I do um, helps me to build peace, build hope, renew hope, right? These backgrounds I have, I must tell you that I am fortunate, I am privileged to have gained them. And I must tell you, Charles, that it helps me in every day of my activity, because each day I woke up, I don't know what I'm going to meet, right? I don't know who will test positive that day, what I will say to the person. I don't know who is going to call me on the phone. My phone is there on the social media. I don't know who is going to call me to tell me whatever, right? I don't know what I'm going to tell the person. I don't know how I'm going to handle that situation. I don't know anything. But again, when that situation presents itself, I'll be able to navigate that, and I'll go home and sleep and say, yes, I've done something. And somebody will say, oh, you saved my life. I didn't see it this way. So this knowledge I've gotten, I must tell you that they are treasure to me.
Mhm. So, but as you think about this, and we think about the real world experiences, has there ever been like a point, while you're doing the work that you're doing, that it seemed like you guys was had something like a major outbreak or some sort that took place that looked like it was going to be catastrophic, and you had to come up with a plan to pretty much help to cancel it before it got bad?
Uh, no known event as such, but again, because of my immediate constituency when it comes to HIV, right? Um, it spreads, but when you get one person, from one person you get another person. So and but when you now get one person and said, oh, um I- this person is enough, it keeps spreading and it becomes a disaster. So um when it comes to HIV management, we've done significantly some programs to be able to get more persons, um, so that we can be able to stop an impending disaster of massive infection, right? So that is just that. So it's is an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. So when you are able to prevent a bad thing about to happen, you save many lives. So, but I can't be able to tell you, okay, this or that, because I'm trying to be diplomatic with my words. But again, we have cases where we have touched lives by preventing an impending disaster, healthcare disaster.
So, if you could change one thing about higher education in your fields, what would it be?
If I were able to change one thing, uh,
Yes, just if you could change one thing.
uh, I will ensure that free education is enforced, right,
Mhm,
to everybody, because we need it. If people are better
mhm.
informed, they will do better. So one thing I will be able to change is to ensure that free education for all, free education for all, basic education. I must tell you that people should have at least some knowledge to be able to navigate life. So people do a lot of things because of lack of knowledge, lack of education. So that's the one thing I will change, ensuring that people have basic education.
Wow. So, it seems like from just your educational experience alone, and you being seems like you're a natural people person. It just seems like you're basically like the another version of Gandhi. I mean, you're like doing like an enormous amount of things, and you're dedicating your work, to the people and to the public, and just making sure you learn and all these things. So, with that being said, and how things are, I mean, like, how does the people that you come across that you work with, how are they as to accepting the experiences and the things that you do?
I wish they are the ones answering these questions. But again, if I must tell you, thank you for the compliment. I I I go out to do this not because I am looking out for something, but I just want people to be better, right? Um,
Right.
I want people to enjoy their life, knowing that um, they they
Mhm,
are humans and they deserve the best of life, right? When
mhm,
someone comes to me and said, I'm living with HIV, I'm not going to act surprised. Oh, it's not a big thing, right? The first thing I'll ask you, I hope you're on treatment. If you say you're not on treatment, why
mhm,
are you not on treatment? And I will take it off from there. And I must tell you, Charles, that I wish a lot of people are talking about this. I wish that we will make HIV ordinary. I wish that we will strip HIV of shame and guilt and judgment,
mhm,
right? So that people will
mhm,
open up and be able to access care and be able to um, achieve their life goals. So I can't possibly say if someone will or how they feel or what they will say. But again, I know that I've I've not lost anybody that have ever come my way. I know when I started, and I know people who I've come across who in the course of my career or advocacy. And my joy is that when they reach out to me and said, "Oh, my viral load is this undetectable, I'm okay, I'm doing well, I can't stop this." And when I read up these things, when I hear all these things, it is rewarding to me, it gives me joy, right? So how they feel, because I can't tell, but since I'm seeing them existing, living their full potentials, right? I'm fulfilled,
Mhm.
right?
So let's transition over to your HIV advocacy. Um, what motivated you to become an HIV advocate?
Okay, like I said earlier, I lost a friend to HIV, and I wish he's still here, right? And I
Mhm.
promised myself that um, I'm not going to keep quiet because of something that is treatable. Um, why people are falling out of care, why people are stopping treatment, why people don't want to know their status on time, they don't want you to bring up the HIV discussion at all, HIV topic at all. It's because of the shame, the stigma around it. And I said that I'm going to be the face of HIV. I'm going to talk about what people are afraid to talk about, what people are ashamed to talk about, right? So, is there a whole lot of things that infuses in one to make it a passion, right? Then I now found myself in the program being HIV program administrative specialist. Now I am working the HIV program. Um, I've gotten some knowledge, background on that, and I said no, that I'm not going to keep the knowledge to myself. I'm not going to keep the the what I know to myself. I'm going to make noise about it. I'm going to talk about it anywhere I see myself, using my platform to talk about it so that more people will be reached, more people will remove the shame around it, will freely talk about it, knowing that it's not a crime, neither is it a sin, it's not a taboo, it's a health condition. So I took it upon myself and said, I know that I'm not looking at recognition, I'm not looking at the monetary aspect of it, but I'm looking at that. Let people's life be touched positively, let people's life be saved from
Mhm.
preventable death, preventable diseases. So that is the push every day. I woke up that okay, I have something to do, and you see me either typing, posting, saying something in a day. Of course, I must say something about HIV.
Mm. Can you share a specific experience that significantly impacted your decision to advocate for HIV awareness?
Oh, okay. I've seen children, mothers, pregnant mothers, who their children, became HIV positive, and this I see that it could have been prevented if these mothers had attended um, um, an antenatal clinic when they were pregnant and in a facility, in a hospital, and these children wouldn't have been infected through vertical transmission. So seeing these children who are in care, in HIV care. Um, it breaks my heart, I must tell you, Charles. And I also ensure that I don't keep quiet in talking about this, especially to pregnant women, or breastfeeding women, so that in this time of effective HIV treatment, there shouldn't be um, an infant that is living with HIV. An infant that is living with HIV, because it is treatable once we can be able to test the pregnant women on time and discover them on time while they were pregnant, or while they were in labor, or while they were breastfeeding, or discover them on time. We can initiate treatment and prevent mother to child transmission. So these experiences is 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 heartbreaking, and I can't possibly see myself not making an effort in educating and in advocating that testing should be normalized and treatment should be um, for everyone, so that these um, uh, preventable health condition should really be prevented.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, because there's no excuse for a lot of these people that are contracting the virus to be so shamed or to be so reclused that they can't go and get this treatment. And so, with that being said, and I know you mentioned earlier in the beginning, you was talking about stigma and so forth. For your country and your community, how is that shaping up, or is that getting worse?
I'm not seeing any changes. I'm not seeing any
Hmm.
changes. Um, it's you could have seen it more um, happening or displaying itself when earlier this year, U.S. government cut fund. There was this waiver on HIV
Hmm.
funding. Now, if you go to social media, you see a lot of things. People were posting, people were typing. It's all laced in stigma, right? So again, people are ashamed to talk about this. And because we are ashamed to talk about this, people are hiding, right? If we can boldly talk about hepatitis, and you ask someone, okay,
Hmm.
you went to the hospital, what's the diagnosis? Oh, I did some tests, they said I have hepatitis B positive or hepatitis C positive. You see the way they say it casually, it cannot be said like that when it comes to HIV, right? I am
Hmm. Right.
trying to understand where and why this stigma around HIV is this endemic, is this big, right? Is like
Hmm.
a giant that we need to cut off, right? I'm trying to see the reason why, because it is treatable, and when treated with ARV, it becomes undetectable, virally suppressed, and with the viral
Hmm.
suppression, it is sexually untransmittable. So, on one hand, you have, for example, hypertension. Yes, it's not sexually transmitted. Then, on the other hand, you have HIV that is sexually transmitted. But when you treat HIV, it becomes sexually untransmittable, like hypertension that is also not transmittable, right? So why are we ashamed of that? Why are we ashamed of that someone is living with HIV, or that I'm living with HIV? Why are we ashamed of talking about it? Or when you hear a colleague is living with HIV, feel like what? It becomes a news or something. So the stigma is still there, Charles, I must tell you, but um, I'm hoping that people like you and I, and people who are listening, if we keep talking about it, um, proving that U equals U, undetectable HIV viral load equals sexually untransmittable, proving it that it is there, it is science, I think we might somehow see it diminishing, see stigma diminishing. But if we don't talk about it, if we don't make noise about it, boldly about it, if we don't with force, with every passion talk about it, you can't see any change. If you don't talk about it, I don't talk about it. There's no forum where we talk about it. There is nobody posting about, writing about it. You know, how will people be educated? How will people know that okay, it's high time we do away with outdated information we know about HIV. And now this is the new information that treatment works, that if a pregnant woman is on treatment, the baby is safe. If a sexual partner is on treatment, the other partner is safe. If we don't talk about it, how can stigma go away? So, Charles, stigma is still there and is still killing people. People are people are dying because they are afraid that they will be seen. It's rather I stay in my house. I don't want to be seen, and it doesn't. It's not supposed to be so. It's truly it's not supposed to be so. I, I
Right.
I have been contacted by many people who will just call you and say, "Oh, I saw your post. I'm reaching out because I stopped my treatment." And I'll ask, "Okay, why did you stop?" I stopped because I was seeing somebody when I was going to the facility, I was going to the hospital, I was seeing people I know and I don't want to be seen. And because of that, this person stopped treatment. And or maybe family members are stigmatizing against them and they stop their treatment. So, but again, I can't do it alone. I can't talk to the whole world. I can't be everywhere. But again, we need to talk about this because it is killing. It shouldn't kill us. Stigma is killing. Then science is here to make us to live. Science is that U equals U is scientific and it gives life.
Um, can you tell us what are some of the things you think we can do to make this a little bit easier and a little bit better? I mean, not just where you are, because I think this is kind of like a worldwide thing where people kind of like are still stuck, in this one spot. What are some of the things you think we could do to make the situation about the virus be so simple, or make it a little bit easier for people to where they don't
People
worry?
in the authority should talk about it. For
Mm,
example, your President
mhm,
Trump, if okay, before I come to that, some few months back, the Prime Minister of UK did his testing on the national television. He did HIV
mm,
testing, and that was National HIV testing period, week, and he tested himself on the TV. The whole world were seeing him. If people in the authority, policymakers, talk about this, you know, prove that treatment was, prove that anybody can be infected, is not excluded for persons, or is not for those persons or these persons, is for every, is a common enemy, right? And again, it's treatable. So people in the authority should talk about it. If your president, like I was saying, Trump, will now say, "Oh, I'm doing my HIV test today," and cameras are there looking at him, and he will do his HIV testing. Don't you think that more people, many people will be encouraged to do their testing? So, traditional rulers,
mhm.
religious leaders, political leaders, everybody, let's join hands. It can happen to anybody, and it can be anywhere, both in the palace, and among the poor people in the pew, anywhere among the paupers. So if policymakers, people with authority, people who have say in the community will talk about it, I think it will go a long way in bringing down this noise of stigma. In some communities, they see that it is a taboo. They see that you are promiscuous. You should. Why would you even, talk about that? They see it as is demonic. And if churches too pastors see that it is a health condition like malaria, like tuberculosis. I'm not comparing diseases, but we are comfortable talking about this. We should be comfortable talking about HIV.
Yes, we should be. And especially from the origin of some 40, 50 plus years ago, from where it started to where it's now, it's so much better. And I
Yes,
think with that,
when it started, sorry, when it started, it was seen as a gay disease. But
yes,
now we've seen that whether you're gay, you're straight, you're heterosexual, you're homosexual, it can happen to anybody, black, white, brown. It can happen to anybody. Is in Denmark, is in Nigeria, is in US, is in Uganda, is in Australia, is everywhere, is worldwide. So gone are the days. The mistake we made was seeing it 40 something years back, seeing it as disease, health condition for those people. Now,
yes.
because we did not focus at those people, it has spread to all of us, right? So, and we shouldn't, right? So,
Mhm,
it was a mistake. And how do we correct it? Test everyone, treat everyone. And
mhm.
because of the wrong notion we had before, uh, you see the damages we've seen ourselves, where we have seen ourselves today. Had we say, oh, irrespective of sexual orientation, irrespective of tongue, religion, tribe, this is a human being. Let's take care of this human being. We wouldn't have been where we are today.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And what I like about what you said is about those that are in more prominent positions could make it known that they want to do something about it. But I think that just kind of like depends, because I think there's so many people that have these little small pea brains, right? And so when they're like that, they're not thinking about anything like that, because these are the folks that's got the God complex. So that's not gonna happen to me.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, but you see, the thing is what a lot of folk are finding out is it don't even have to be HIV. It can actually be AIDS, and as you say, it could be hepatitis, but not the viral hepatitis A. It could be hepatitis C, and you see, it's still one way or the other that you're contracting these these very very infectious diseases. But now that this has happened, what makes you think that because you say, okay, they say I got this, but I'm not going to get treated because I don't have this. I know I don't have this. That stigma
It
is
is
getting
because
them.
of in Africa. I'm using Africa because I'm from Africa. I'm using
Mhm.
and in Nigeria because I'm a Nigerian. We are too religious to, and because we are too religious, we attribute everything to spirituality, to religion, and all that. If you're hungry, instead of me to give you food, I would say, "Oh, God will feed you. God bless you." If you're having headache, instead of me to, ask you, okay, go to the hospital and take care of yourself. Also, be healed and all that. So when we find ourselves in this. Maybe I got tested with HIV, and I'm telling you, okay, this is HIV. You say, no, it's not my portion. God forbid, it's not my portion. The enemies are after me. I dreamt that I was drinking something that looks like red substance, and I woke up and I feel, oh, I've been poisoned. These are this because of the our religious mindset, right? We tend to to not tackle the problem as it's happening, right? It is a health condition. HIV is a health condition. It can happen to anybody, as long as, and mind you, because we are mentioning sex, it's not only through sex. Yes, the major, the bulky way of people getting it is through sex, but it's not only through sex. It can happen in any other way. But when it happens, because you're a human being, and mind you, the H in HIV is human, so it cannot happen to animals. So once it happens, what do? Get treated.
Mhm.
If it's spiritual, we have physical. In fact, we have science, effective, scientific, proven um, um, method of handling um, that spiritual thing. But it's not spiritual, right? So we should get help when we need help.
How do you believe HIV advocacy can change perceptions of those living with the virus?
Oh, greatly! I love that question, Charles. It can change when because little me has been talking about it in my little way, in my little corner, using my little tool, right? My little tool, my social media handles, talking about that. I'm seeing changes, I'm seeing lives, being touched, right? So,
Mm.
advocacy helps in demystifying the fears, the stigmas, the myths, the misconceptions around HIV. So, you can't imagine the level of success we will achieve if everybody is talking about it. The celebrities are talking about it, the influencers are talking about it, using your platform to promote it, promote testing, promote you equals you, which is a scientific evidence of a well-treated HIV, promote treatment, telling people that it is normal to treat, is just normal to treat the way you treat any other health condition, promote it. So using every platform, the printed media, the electronic media, use it to talk about this. We will see significant reduction in HIV cases.
And so, let me just ask you this, because being an advocate, and I know that you have got to be one of those people that maybe support or create support groups. What are you seeing with the support groups? Are they getting better or are they getting worse?
Oh, it comes with one or two challenges, but it's good to have support group. People of like mind, sharing ideas, sharing experiences. It has its good side, and I encourage that people belong to support group. I might not be as strong as you are, but when I find myself in a support group, I'll be encouraged. I'm seeing that I'm not alone. This person is also in the same shoe with me, feels the way I feel. It will help in keeping people on treatment. So it's getting better, and I will encourage every facility, community to have this, because coming we achieve more when we are together, right? When we encourage each other, when we are together. So it's getting better, and people who have people who have gotten it once, if they are on their own, Many people are living today, thriving, living with HIV and thriving with HIV because they belong to a group of persons like them who who
Right.
shares who shares experiences, their realities, and they learn from each other. So it gets better. Yeah, I know there might be one or two challenges, confidentiality being compromised here and there, but again, we can weigh the pros and cons and see that we achieve better when we are together, right?
Um, can you tell us what strategies do you use to raise awareness and educate your community about HIV?
Uh, I I see myself as a very private person, but today I don't see myself again as a very private person because I think I'm littered all over social media, right? So um, when I started, Charles, I will tell you this. This is my first time of saying this. When I
Mhm.
started my advocacy talking about HIV, the those early days, I wasn't using my picture because um, I'm a very shy person. I don't
Stigma.
know. Not really stigma. I don't like putting myself there. I don't like to be seen, right? I don't use I wasn't using my pictures. I was just only typing and then publish, type and post. But again, I discovered that people need to see, um, because of also my background, my educational background. I learned that people learn more with what they see, not really the writing aspect. So I decided to now be putting my pictures on my posts, right?
Hmm.
But before then, I have these wonderful friends who were pushing me, okay, do this, okay, make video, use that. I say no, 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 no. But over time now, Charles, if you've noticed, I'm using videos now to talk about HIV. So, and again, because I'm a very private person, I'm not really I don't really like social media, but because of this, I must like social media. So if you ask me, I know when I entered Facebook, I know when I entered TikTok, I know when I entered Twitter, and I know when I entered all that social media. So, and when my activities in all these social medias is just to talk about HIV and to reach out to people, right? To touch lives, to tell people that they are not alone, that they are still valid, they are still human beings. So, um, I've used my social media to promote good health, to
Hmm.
tell people that we are no longer in the 80s where HIV was there was no hope when you were diagnosed of HIV. But now, once you are diagnosed, you start treatment, is the same life. And there's this thing I used to say. Take for example, before you got tested, maybe at 1 a.m. you didn't know your HIV status, but at 1:30 a.m. you got to know your HIV status. At one before you walked into the facility and after you got tested, is there any difference? Do you have extra eyes, bigger nose? Is there horn on your head? When I say that, you see someone saying, "Oh, it's true. I never thought it that way." So you see, there's no difference. It's the same thing. And amazingly, science have made it that truly there's no difference. A person living with HIV can get pregnant, can breastfeed, can have vaginal delivery, like someone who is not living with HIV, like a woman who is not living with HIV. So there's no difference. Someone living with HIV can love and be loved like someone who is not living with HIV. People who are not living with HIV die. People who are living with HIV can also die, but they will not die of HIV related diseases if it's treated. right? So tell me, is there any difference? There is none. So because there is no difference, there shouldn't be HIV-related deaths, and there shouldn't be HIV-related diseases, and there shouldn't be stigma.
You know, I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to follow this up with a question. But you know, I'm sure that the people in your community have to feel very, very comfortable when they deal with you, because you know it's like you've got this knowledge base about this one chronic illness that still holds, you know, a strong control over the entire universe. But I'm sure that your people feel very, very comfortable in your community. And I'm sure that there's some people here in the US, you know, that are the same way. I just haven't run across a lot of those people. But I've got to say, when you do talk to your people, or you've got somebody that's struggling that you help along, how has that impact been after they deal with you?
Positively. The impact is positively. There is renewed hope. They are they feel energized to continue to live, right? Um, they
Mm.
feel better. They feel that it's not the worst. I had I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine just yesterday, right?
Mhm.
Um, he knew me before he got to know his HIV diagnosis. So he has been reading, he has been seeing me on social media, we've been talking and all that. So one day he reached out to me and said, "Oh, my result just came back. I just tested positive of HIV." And I just thank him for trusting me with that information. I was the first person he called, and telling me that means that I'm coming to you for help. So literally, I took him by hand, and we continue to walk the walk of starting treatment, remaining on treatment. I remember when he normally calls me and said, "I can't wait to see my viral load saying undetectable." So eventually he did his viral load 6 months into treatment, and viral came out to be undetectable, and he was so excited. So, but all of a sudden, I stopped hearing from him, and um, for a very long time, I didn't hear from him. I guess he might be watching now, because he told me he would join this conversation, and I just want to tell him that he is valued, right? So what
Yeah.
happened was that he said his family members got to know about his status, and it was hell for him. He went through hell. He was dealt with, and because of that, he stopped his treatment, and but gladly he's going back to his treatment. So my point is that um I guess again these my wonderful friends will be in best positions to tell how they feel. But I know that, like I said, I've not lost anyone who has ever come in contact with me, because I've taken it upon myself that we should make this as ordinary as possible, as simple as possible, because that is how it should be. It's just a health condition that can happen to anybody. Um, it's not because you're promiscuous, even if you're promiscuous. It's not because you're sinful. It's not a taboo. It's nothing, right? So they feel how they feel is when I see them and I see them living their life is fulfilling to me. And I know that they feel blessed.
Um, how does your advocacy work evolved since you started? How has it evolved?
It's it has really evolved. like I told you, I was coming from uh, those period of hiding behind keyboard, you know. I don't want to be seen. Let me just type and post, to attaching my pictures, then to making videos, people hearing me talking. Um, so it has really evolved. And again, when I like to give out information that even if you sit in your house to Google it, to read about it, you will see that it's the same thing everywhere. For example, because you undetectable HIV viral load equals sexually untransmittable is scientific, globally accepted, I promote it. And because we have our phones, we don't know that these things are in our phone. Instead of me to say it and you just, grab it, I'll tell you, okay, open your phone and type in this. And when you type in, you read it yourself and say, oh, this is here. I say, yes, go and read the rest. Reframe the question whichever way you want to reframe it. You see other information. Now go and tell other person. So it has really, and it keeps improving. And I hope to, like I said, I'm not getting tired anytime soon. I'm not keeping quiet anytime soon, because HIV is not getting tired. HIV is
Okay.
not keeping quiet. So if I keep quiet and
Yeah.
get tired, more persons will be infected. But in my little way, with my little resources, with my little equipment, I'll keep making noise until we get to everybody. We test the untested, we diagnose the undiagnosed, we treat the untreated, and those that we've lost, we bring them back on treatment. And everybody should be healthy, because
Mm.
treatment is to be healthy.
So, what challenges do you face as an HIV advocate in your community?
Oh, challenges, I can't I other than that, people are having difficulty in accepting the you equals you messages. Personally, I I believe that the world is under my feet when it comes to HIV program, HIV advocacy, because when it comes to HIV, there must be a way to any challenge I must encounter. But for now, I've not seen any challenge that will make me to get tired or get deterred or get discouraged talking about it.
Oh, now this question, I think you kind of like answered this, but this question, when you answer this, I really want the audience, that is from your constituents to the people over here in America, to really understand this question, this answer to this question. How do you address stigma related to HIV in your advocacy efforts?
Okay. Um, One thing we should know is that it is a community effort. How do I address stigma related? Is to talk about it. I want to understand what you know about the HIV. What do you know about? What information are you coming with? Oh, I know it as this. I know it as that. I know it as this. From what? From your known, I will take you
Mhm.
to your unknown, right? I learned this when I was in school. So when you are talking to someone, allow them to tell you what they know. From there, because you're more knowledgeable, you take them to the unknown, and then both of you will arrive at a junction. So addressing stigma, we shouldn't shove it under the carpet. We shouldn't cover it. We say, oh, don't talk about it. Or you talk it in a low tone, in a hushed tone. No, talk about it boldly. Talk about it
Mhm.
constructively, right? If it's stigma related to breastfeeding, a woman breastfeeding, or a woman getting pregnant, or a lady who a single lady hoping to get married and get tested of HIV, stigma related to such an individual. How do we talk about that? We handle it, right? So we need to talk. You can't solve problem by keeping quiet. You talk about it. You dialogue. You bring all the facts. And because if I'm grateful to science, had we don't have we do not have this scientific breakthrough of U equals U, I think stigma will have had the final say. But today, no, stigma is not having the final say. Science is having the final say, and science says that a virally suppressed viral load or virus suppressed HIV is essentially untransmittable. Again, because of that, and I will now ask, what can someone who is not living with HIV do that a person living with HIV cannot do? The only difference is that this person is on daily treatment, and if you're telling me that because this person is on daily treatment, is someone living with is somebody living with diabetes not on daily treatment? So there are other chronic health conditions that requires daily treatment, not only HIV. So when we bring these facts, we make stigma small. We bring stigma to a very minimal level. So communities should talk about it. Persons in position should talk about it. Use your small corner to promote good health. Talk about it. Don't say it's not your concern, it doesn't concern you, it's not my portion, it's not my focus, I don't care. You might not know. So at every opportunity you have, at any resources you have, at any position you occupy, please talk about HIV and make it ordinary. That's how to tackle stigma.
Now, talk. Can you tell us, in your community, how does the HIV status look when it comes to gay versus straight, black versus white, man versus woman? How does that look, and how is that shaping?
Um, I would say begin by saying that we do not have high risk um, people. We do not have high risk people. What we have is um, high risk behavior, right?
I like
Yeah.
that.
So it's whether you are straight or of the LGBT community, um, is the same risk, right? So
Mhm.
let's not go back to the 40 years ago or for something years ago where we say that it is for this group of people. So it's the same statistics, the same number, the same people because they are human beings. But again, if you want to look at it demographically, you see women and young girls and young adolescents, because of the period they are growing up and because of the adolescent stage. So you kind of have these age brackets, you know, getting infected, and that's why we want to catch them young, early, right? So we don't have high risk people, we have high risk behavior, and those behaviors can be displayed whether among straight people or whether among gay persons or whether among black persons or whether among white persons. So it's just the same everywhere, and that's why we shouldn't ignore anybody. Everybody is important, so that we tackle this as a community, tackle this as one people, because we have one enemy. We don't have people are not our enemy. HIV is our enemy, and we should come together to tackle that. So it's the same everywhere, both in Nigeria and anywhere in a developing country.
So, how do you collaborate with other organizations or stakeholders in your advocacy work?
Yeah, like I said, it's not a one-man thing. Means there has been periods that you need to reach out to people who you might need their resources. There are some persons who focus only on testing, and they are not treating. So when they test, they refer to you. And there are persons who treat, both treat and who test and treat at the same time. So is a is a is a joint effort. Again, because I in Nigeria, I know you don't know the in Nigeria we have states in Nigeria, and we have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. I'm at the Federal Capital Territory, which is Abuja, and I can't be in all the states. You have your 52 states, right? You can be in the 50 states. You can be in all the states. So what I do is that when you reach out to me, when someone reaches out to me and say, oh, I'm in so and so state, I want to get tested, I want to start treatment, I want to do this or that when it comes to HIV. So I'll look for people in that state, and I have contacts. I'll call or send message and say, oh, I'm sending so and so person, or try to reach out to so and so person and see how these services will be offered to this person. So it's a teamwork. It's not an individual thing. So, and the collaboration is very strong, I must tell you.
So, in your opinion, what are the most significant gaps in HIV education and resources in your area?
Okay, HIV gaps. We have poor sensitization, right? Um, we should talk. We should make room for more um, awareness, whether we are using jingles, social media, electronic media, print media. There is this wide gap of awareness. Young persons needs to know about this. um, we shouldn't have in this age, when you ask somebody about um, means of HIV transmission, somebody will be telling you sharing of clothes or handshake or eating together. I don't want to eat together with someone living with HIV. If we sensitize people, we know that these are not ways HIV can be transmitted. So there is this gap of awareness, enlightenment, right? We should make that to we should close that gap. We should make noise talk about it in all platforms. If government, policymakers, lawmakers should make laws that media houses, at least in a day, we should talk about this. I think it will go a long way to bring the messages home to the right people who needs that.
Okay. Can you share any success stories from your advocacy work that inspire you?
Oh, a lot, Charles, a lot. When
Mhm.
you see someone who who came in with advanced HIV disease bouncing back to life, right? It gives me joy.
Mhm.
When you see a baby who got infected through vertical transmission, um, living up to growing up and becoming an adolescent, because I must tell you that I have a lot of them. It gives me joy. When you see someone who has stopped treatment for a long time, reaching back to you and said, oh, I stopped treatment, I want to restart on their own, it gives me joy. So like I said, um, I my successes, or the successes I've recorded in speaking out, when I see them, it gives me more joy not to stop anytime soon. So I'm not stopping, because I know that it's some persons might say that, oh, why are you talking about this? Is this the only thing you're talking about? I will tell you, because it's not, because it's not, I have my right audience. It's not for you. It's not because of you are making the noise. The noise I'm making is for some persons, and they are benefiting, right? So I've recorded a lot of successes, and I'm happy, you know, that these successes are being recorded. I'm happy that lives are being changed. I'm happy that in my little way, lives are being saved, you know. But it's not enough. I know it will continue to do more.
Mhm. Well, look, I guess we're gonna have to get to the point. I guess I'm not gonna be able to. I got more and more questions here for you, but I don't want to take up too much more time. But in closing, what are some words of wisdom you would like to leave with the guest that's watching the show? And how can they contact you via your social media, your website, any of those things? What would you like to leave with the guest for tonight?
Oh, great. I have two parts. One part is for someone out there who is living with HIV. Um,
Mhm.
you're not alone. Keep thriving. If you have not started treatment, please start. If you're having difficulty starting treatment, please reach out to me on my Twitter, on my Facebook, on LinkedIn, even on TikTok, right? Um, I guess after now, I'll leave the um, handles for us to, and my phone number for you to reach out. Um, Again, so please, if you're having difficulty in starting treatment and you are in Nigeria, please reach out to me. We will sort that out. But if you're in America, I am glad that you are in a place that um, is um, is taking this very seriously. We have over there a lot of organizations who are into HIV program. Please look at in your county, in your state, and reach out and get into treatment and remain on treatment. And the other part is for persons who are partners or loved ones of person living with HIV and who are supporting people living with HIV. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the understanding. Keep supporting, keep upholding us. Thank you for being our support system. We appreciate all you do. You're making living with HIV to be very simple. You're making you equals you a reality, right? Thank you for the good work you do. And for everybody, HIV is a common enemy, not people living with HIV. So talk about it freely, openly, and make sure that among your friends or your loved ones that you educate them against stigma. There's no need for stigma because the science is there, right? And with that, we'll make our world a better place. Thank you.
Ready. Well, I want to thank you once again for being here. And again, like I said, I had so many more questions, but we couldn't get to them. But we definitely got to make sure we have you back.
Thank you, Charles.
And I mean, I want to thank you because I mean, again, it's you get the knowledge that you supply is one of those things that I think people around the world should just know and just realize that there's no need to shut yourself off from the rest of the world. Live your life, be happy. There's therapy and treatments that make these things that much better and that much easier for you.
Exactly. You're right.
So forget all that other craziness. Just live your life. Be what you're supposed to
Yeah.
be. So for those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, if you have not subscribed, I would appreciate if you would indulge us and support us by supporting us by subscribing to the channel, as well as getting the notifications to where every time we do a show, you will be able to catch the show live, or you can go and watch all the shows that are there on the YouTube channel, and you can watch them for free. I want to thank you, Ugo, for being such better than I want to say a strong advocate. I mean, you are my brother.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you so much for the work that you do, because many people, that want to do the work that you do don't know how to do it. You found comfort, strength, and a way to navigate and make this work. You created your own space that, I'm telling you, it's like one of those things that is really. And so these are some of the things that people need to know, that there are people like you that are dedicated to the work and the mission that you set out there. These are examples that we need to continue to build our communities with. And the work that you do is definitely one of those things that we've got to make sure that people know, that's over there in your country and in other parts of the continent of where you are. They need to know who you are, because you are that important person. You should be the go-to man.
Thank you. Thank you, Charles.
This is what we need to do. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody that was watching this show. And just a word of note, last night's show, we had some technical difficulties where we weren't able to get the show out. What I want each and every one of you to know is that we will have that show on Monday. So please, Dr. Philip Neely Jr. show will be out on Monday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I apologize to everyone for the technical difficulties, but we will correct that, and we will have that show on Monday evening. Ugo, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody for watching the show.
Thank you, Charles. And thank you for all you do too. Thank you.
I appreciate you. And for everybody that's watching, we do have another great show for you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us on America in Black and White, where we are writing conversations on America's canvas. Enjoy. Please come back. And again, as the hottest podcast in America, let's do it like we're supposed to and build our communities. Thank you all. Have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow evening.